Hello, everyone, and thank you for stopping in at the Duchess of Unicorn YouTube channel. And it is 12:30 a.m. in the United States, and on my browser, I'm seeing a lot of what you're seeing, which is all about Meghan and Harry stepping down. So this is so juicy, but at the same time, so many people who have been watching and really digging deeper into what's been reported and sharing their opinion and views based on smashing articles and a lot of research together have made assumptions that this was bound to happen. So a lot of us called it as it's happening right now. So I just am right now on the Twitter app, and it's saying Johnny Diamond, I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it, at Johnny Diamond, says breaking. BBC understands no other member of the royal family was consulted before Harry and Meghan issued their personal statement tonight. The palace is understood to be, quote unquote, disappointed. And so, I'm just going to scroll down a little. I'm not going to read many off to you, if any, but, people are basically some saying, who cares? Meghan is in control. You can read some of these if you can see them as clear as I can. How can you not respect your grandmother? Some people are saying. So this was released from this Johnny Diamond, and you can go on and find it yourself on Twitter. Johnny with two N's and Diamond with the Dymond. So at Johnny Diamond. And so I thought his tweet saying this about I don't know who he is. I didn't investigate him. I just was really interested that he is reporting that breaking. The BBC understands that no other member of the royal family was consulted before Harry and Meghan issued their personal statement tonight. The palace is understood to be disappointed. So I have a lot of emotions to this revelation. And of course, I want to disclose that my videos are for entertainment only. And all my content, as you see, is found on the internet, the public domain. And I'm just sharing my view and opinion of current events per the British royals, and especially concerning Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Now, I even feel odd saying the Duchess of Sussex. Now, even if she was to get divorced from Prince Harry, which I said this numerous times before, I'm not wishing it. I'm not, hoping for it. I just think that it's probably going to end up the pendulum swaying that way, just because she brings a lot of friction. And this is the most evident, as we see here. Piers Morgan tweeted, "People say I'm too critical of Meghan Markle, but she ditched her family, ditched her dad, ditched most of her old friends, split Harry from William, and now has split him from the royal family. I rest my case." That was tweeted 11 hours ago by Piers Morgan. So I kind of agree with that. I mean, there's no kind of. I actually do agree with it. And a lot of people will. It's pretty clear. It's pretty easy to see. However, we really are only on the outside looking in. But we have this thing called intuition that we have access to. And we also have free speech in the United States. And we're also thinking people, we hope. And a lot of us draw our conclusions based on reading what we read, researching, and kind of smashing that stuff together and coming up with our own way that we feel about it. So I feel some sort of way about this whole thing. And I don't really care if it's good or bad I'm not really feeling either way. I just feel like it's not important, but it's interesting that so many of us had said this is going to happen. And they're throwing Canada in here because Meghan did Suits there. And, Meghan wanted to return to acting. I just feel like Meghan doesn't have to return to Meghan anymore, to acting, excuse me. I don't believe she has to return. So I don't think she's going to need or feel the pull to per se to return in that capacity to acting. But I do feel that she's going to do a lot of stuff that has to do with how I hope she goes back to being what I see as her authentic self prior to marrying Harry. So I hope we see more of that, but I tend to think that they're still hiding behind the skirt of being a royal. And I really honestly think if you're not in Britain and you're not, conducting yourself as a senior royal, I feel like you really don't need your titles and you should be stripped of them. I don't think that's going to be quite the same for Harry, but since Meghan's married to him, I don't see how they can strip them. But if you remember in history, Wallis Simpson, who was an American actress, did take the then king and kind of help reduce his life down to not being a royal. But he was royal, but he kind of was on the outskirts of being a royal. So it's been done in history already. And as we know, Meghan, she is a bit of a copycat, or she borrows from other situations, happenings, and even wording and things like that. So she stopped doing that a lot. And what she has done now is quote the actual inspirational, person that has said the inspirational quote. So she's quoting people per policy, but she used to kind of turn things, just a few things, and I won't go and refer to them. We all know, if you've been following this, she's made quotes that sound or inspiring little snippets on her Instagram or wherever, and they basically are spin-offs of what somebody else already has said in the past, and like Mandela or whomever. But she hasn't said exactly verbatim, but she's put her own spin on it. But so I don't feel that she's totally original. So let's go back here. So yeah, Piers Morgan is this is his Twitter, and he's pretty much on point with that. But what really interested me was that this Johnny Diamond from Twitter had said that on his Twitter that breaking BBC understands that no other member of the royal family was consulted. That is huge because it's disrespectful, as well as them stepping down. In order to step down, this was kind of street, this was kind of ghetto to do to the royal family in terms of how the protocol works. Like, if you're going to quit or step down, you have to consult people so that everybody is on at least the same page. Okay, maybe they're not agreeable, but they're on the same page, so that when it does break, if you go ahead, they are ready for whatever comes after that. In this case, this gentleman, Johnny Diamond, is saying that the royal family was never consulted before they issued their statement of stepping down. And they're using the quotes as disappointed. The royal family or the palace is disappointed to hear this. So part of me believes this could be true because this is indicative to what Meghan would do, a stab and go. Like, she's like a stash and grab, she's in and out. She's nothing to me of like long-term substance in terms of, well, anything that we've seen. We don't really know her. Don't forget, the public generally doesn't really know her. A few teenage or pre-teenage or post-teenage girls that had been watching Suits. Some guys had nothing better to do than watch that or tune in because they put somebody attractive in a role like that. Or someone happened to fall on Suits on USA. Most of the world did not know she existed, even when she was in different bit parts in other movies. But at her age, she never found a title role. So honestly, she gave that up, which isn't a lot. It's something, but it isn't a lot. She gave that up to marry into the royal family, which is a far bigger paycheck and a far larger acting role. It has a little more substance and it can go a lot longer. And after she no longer is involved with the royals, which I believe that we could see that happen in the future. We could really see, in my opinion, Prince Harry divorcing Meghan. We really could see that. And I would feel that Prince Harry would do that if he found the love that he really wanted to be with, or perhaps him and Chelsea Davy got back together again, or something sparked there. But I feel like that is bound to happen. However, at the same time, I feel like Meghan, as bloodthirsty as she is, I feel like she probably has an ironclad prenup. She has solid backup. We all should know this when we're giving our opinion. We all should know that this is probably very true. That even if they were to get divorced, she has ironclad secondary provisions in place for a potential divorce. So I feel like she'll still benefit. The only really problem or issue there would be is that little boy. However, we really are seeing quite a circus unfold in front of us. It's like a circus where bits and pieces come in as you're watching the circus, not really knowing what to expect. So yes, they stepped down, and I really think that that was evident 2 times prior that we were given strong clues. One was at the Queen's speech for Christmas, and 2 was when we saw William, Kate, Charles, and the kids all there, like they were putting everybody in place for the future from that day forward on, concrete, sealed, delivered, that those were the people that were going to be going forward outside of the Queen and her husband, of course, Prince Philip. So, we see this, I think, and I think that's pretty solid. But maybe, again, there's another spinoff to come. Maybe, it was all part of a contract for him to temporarily marry, maybe 5 years, marry this woman and do everything they're going to do, set her up, and thank her for, whatever she's added to the royal family. And I don't really know, but if we look at it, we are going to see that she's added more revenue. She's added more popularity, more press to the royal family, good, bad, and indifferent. They all pay off. I'm not sure of that, but I feel like maybe that's another spinoff of this whole thing, is that we find out there's a divorce, maybe 5 years. We're already into it for 2. Maybe 5-year mark, they are set to go their own ways, and Prince Harry's just kind of coasting through this. We don't know. None of us really know what's happening in terms of what has really been agreed upon and what is ironclad. We're going to see. But the other thing to this is that Meghan and Harry have created, let me see, I did that wrong, sorry. Whoops. A Sussex Royal Foundation website, and I'm not sure if this will lead me to it. Probably not. Probably not. So let me see if I can just SussexRoyale.com, I believe it is. Let's see if it pulls up. They have created a website. Obviously, this was done while they were on break. I'm not going to accept cookies. I'm just going to let you see that they've set up a website that basically answers many, many questions. There you see khaki-clad Prince Harry and, 2 people of color next to him. Nobody else, just 2 people of color. They're really pushing the color issue, like how he's, mending bridges, or he's, building a new way to look at things. No, you're not. You've been walking amongst people of color in their countries for a very long time, probably since you were a boy. But now I see, since you've married someone of color, I see a lot of this color issue put in. Like, so I see this little girl, she's of some type of color. She's of color. I don't know what country she is, Part of me wants to think of that as New Zealand, but I can't really tell you. But this is their website, and if you go to the About, you find out all about what they're doing. If you go to media, you'll see that they're explaining on the media page a lot about what they're going to be doing in terms of plans for what they issue out in terms of news and events that they're doing and projects they're working on. And it'll explain that they will be in control. Basically, what it's saying is they'll be in control of most of their pictures, photos, articles, such on and so forth. So maybe when we talked about Sussex Royale being trademarked for hundreds of trademarks, this is part of it. Having the SussexRoyale.com will now be where they release, and their Instagram page is where they're going to release a great deal of what they're up to, whether that's their trips or plans or their financials. All that is going to be here. So I see that why they would have to get many, many patents. But if you want to go here, SussexRoyale.com, you will see that they have a whole revised media approach, and it's to ensure diverse and open access to their work. This adjustment will be a phased approach as they settle into new normality of their updated roles. This updated approach aims to, and it goes on to say, engage with grassroots media. So smaller people, like I talked about the other day, why is everything about all these big organizations when there's so many little organizations struggling to meet their demands and their needs, and they do a good job. I wondered why that wasn't happening. So you'll see this, and they mentioned and young upcoming journalists. So they intend to do a lot with grassroots media organizations and up and coming journalists. So I would imagine that a lot of YouTubers may be able, I'm not sure, but more YouTubers will be able to have access to more information, but the information will still be open to many, many people in, just by being more transparent. So I'm not sure who's going to get real privy information, because it seems like what they're saying, the verbiage is that they're going to be more open and transparent across the board so that they can lock out the old way of doing things in terms of journalism and their coverage, and that they'll be able to kind of be on the same page with most of us, even us little YouTubers. What that means is it really levels the playing field in terms of journalism and reporting. So there really isn't, and I've said this before too, there really isn't a YouTuber that has a inside scoop. They really don't, because no one inside the royal walls would risk their livelihood or their well-being to lose their jobs, basically, over giving a YouTuber a sentence, a story, or anything, because they all have non-disclosures that they have to sign. So they'd lose their livelihood, and I don't believe that they'd lose a job within the palace walls to be able to give a YouTuber a little bit of information. So we've all, especially me, always scanned the internet for any articles and get the sense of the vibe, and also scan for whatever the Sussexes are putting out or whatever the royals are saying, and we smash that together. I know I do, and we come up with some opinions and some views that make sense, along with mixing, of course, our own intuition and our own free speech. I know that's what I do on my channel. Some channels are out to bash Meghan, especially because change is hard to fathom, especially for an old institution. But there are some of us that also don't agree with things that, or the way that it's gone about. And that's perfectly fine to disagree with the way Meghan has come up and has kind of set a precedence in the royal family. So some of us just try to be objective, but we also have a feeling. We feel a certain way. So go ahead and read about that on the SussexRoyal.com website. They've obviously came back and landed back after their weeks off with an intent to really do things the way they want to. And I don't know, that's still not woke to me, but what it means is they're really harming the old institution of the monarchy. And so some people feel the monarchy shouldn't exist. It's 2020. Yeah, we know you're old blood. Yeah, we know you're old money. Yeah, you have colonized many countries around the world and squished them into the Commonwealth title, in which you own the land and the people and the things within it because you took it in fair terms under war, I'm guessing. But in modern today, we're not in feudal times anymore. So modern today, a lot of people think if you just go and be private, you can just be royal and keep your blood and keep your money, but pay your taxes on it, whatever you people have to do. And we're just going to be over here and you'll be over there. And we'll see reports on you sometimes. But you know what? It's not everything in the world. You're not the most important thing in the world to us. And that's okay to both sides. So maybe it should be abolished in that term. And maybe that is the big picture. Who knows? Maybe that Queen Elizabeth has looked in the future and she's like, we don't really need to be doing this like this anymore. Maybe we really don't need to be. I mean, you don't really wear tiaras anymore everywhere you go. It's only special occasions. So maybe you should cash your tiaras in, or maybe you should vault them and be done with it. Just keep them for family heirlooms like the rest of us keeps our sweaters or our blankets or our quilts. Keep them as family heirlooms. But as far as being royalty, well, it's getting to the world is so disconnected that nobody really finds that to be imperative to know anymore. It's interesting to know, but it's not imperative to know. At one time, it was kind of something to be royalty. But today, people are disconnected to that. So maybe that in that way, the Duke and Duchess are doing something good. But I just feel overall that we saw this coming. I feel like we could see a divorce in a few years down the line because, well, Harry is not really like Meghan. And I think the real thing that they have in common, I think, and I'm speculating, and it's my opinion, is that Harry really wanted to be out from behind his brother in the way that he could be more free. Because clearly he loved to party. Clearly he likes to do things his own way. So even though he followed most of the protocol, he's had things in history where he has kind of broken aside and off, and they've had to come in and mend the situation, like his Nazi day and his nude time when he had a party and got nude. So I don't want to go any further because it's 23 minutes. Time goes so fast. But I did want to just share that with you that we all know that they've parted with the royal family. We knew that was the case when we saw the desk of the Queen on her Christmas speech, which may end up being her last. We never know. And we may see, well, we also saw that it was evident that at the church in Sandringham, when they all went to church, Meghan and Harry were nowhere to be found. And there's been some other things prior to that where they were not invited, or, I'm sorry, that's my opinion, they didn't seem to show up to that event when they had family outings for later last year. So this is 2020. I thought it was going to be more transparent. I had hoped it would be. So far, that is true. However, there are some things left out, like the British royals, the palace itself did not consult. Harry and Meghan did not consult with the palace prior to this. So if they did, maybe we'll hear more correction on that. This is just what I'm reading online. If they didn't, well, we'll hear more as well. We'll hear more about that. But Fox News is reporting it as well in the United States that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry didn't consult some members of the royal family before announcement. And, this says some. The other article said none of the royal family or the palace wasn't consulted. So if they're going to Canada, go to Canada. But we see that Meghan has a lot of friends in Canada from her show, and she feels comfortable, clearly, and she's also very close to the United States. So it's just like a hop over, and she's in the United States. The United States really doesn't need more of this. What we need in the United States is more unity. I don't feel that Prince Harry and Meghan will bring anything of value in terms of unity to the United States. My last observation is it makes me wonder if further down the line, Meghan does intend to go into hardcore political arenas. I'm not sure, but it could be. I mean, it's just my opinion. I'm speculating, but if she comes back to the United States, she's certainly not going to lower herself to be an actress kissing various co-stars and learning lines. And why? Why would she need to do that? For what? But what she could be doing is get into a political arena, maybe run for president. I mean, if Trump can do it, Meghan can do it. And that's what people are going to think. And clearly, after Trump, honestly, what could be worse? I don't know. I really don't know. So I'll leave it at that with you. And thank you again for watching my video. Clearly my video wasn't for children, and all my content is under the fair use guidelines and for entertainment only. And I'm just sharing my opinion with you. But wow, people, they stepped back, aka quit, aka got let go. You got fired. Thank you for watching. Leave your comments. I'd love to know them. Thank you. Bye.